Hi guys, thank you so much for being here, and I really do hope you're doing well. I've got something really fun for you today. It might not be the most lightweight item, it might not be the most sort of pack flat foldable item in the world, but it is very practical. If you want a warm drink and some hot food served at the same time without wasting any extra fuel, this item is for you. Also, it protects against the wind and the rain, so it means that your fire is going to be able to be made and maintained in even the worst severe weather conditions. Let me introduce you to the Ghillie Stormproof Kettle. Okay guys, let me show you through the Ghillie Storm Kettle. This is the actual kettle itself. It's a cool piece of kit. It's made out of lightweight aluminium, holds 1.4 litres, which is approximately sort of 5 mugs. It's made in the UK as a sort of a sign they're saying made in the UK in the British flag. It's actually made in Redditch, which isn't too far away from where we are. Well, where I am, where I'm filming this video. The top bit here has a whistle so that when your water's boiling you know about it. Really, really nice feature. Also lets out the pressure so you're not going to get any massive explosions. The kettle itself is a massive chimney-like structure, so it's hollow all the way through. You probably see my hand waving there on the other side. What happens is that you have a fire in this pan. You stoke the wood down the chimney. That will sit on there. Essentially, you stoke the wood down and the fire heats the inside of the kettle, boiling the water, which essentially the water is in a double-walled metal all the way up through the Ghillie kettle itself. But there are other things to talk about. We've got a cook set here. The actual Ghillie kettle without any water in weighs about 950 grams from memory. The cook set weighs about 280 grams. We have a pan. A pan here. I thought I picked up the wrong one. And we have a frying pan here. So your pot for cooking the larger things, and then your frying apparatus here. This is a pan grab handle. Again, enables you to have a handle without leaving it on the stove to get very hot, and it enables you to pick up other things when you're using the kettle. We also have these two grill pieces. They sit above where you have your fire, and it means that you can actually grill and continue to cook once the kettle has boiled, if you so wish. A couple of things to mention finally before we actually get on to using the item. These two pieces slot together. That is your pan stand or your pot stand, and that sits on top of the kettle like so. It comes with a drawstring bag, quite a hard-wearing drawstring carry bag. I'll show you the other side of that in a second, or I'll pop it up on the screen right now. I want to actually show you it in action though, because the cool thing about this is that you can use pretty much any combustible fuel to get this going. To show you through the features of the Ghillie kettle, I'm going to be making myself some nice food and some nice drinks. So I'm going to have myself some beans today. I'm also going to be having some mushrooms. So I quite like mushrooms, so I'm going to fry some mushrooms up. Okay guys, so I'm prepared for my meal right now. I've got my fuel here. I'll talk about the fuel in just a second. I've got a pot of beans. I have a frying pan of mushrooms. Just going to add a little bit of spray oil in with the mushrooms. Obviously, I don't want to turn this into a cooking program, but you need your oil in there to make sure that things don't get sticky, and it tastes nice as well. Let's not kid ourselves. Oil tastes lovely. So yes, I got a little baggie of salt there. It is salt, I promise you. And I also have a cup with, I know it looks like some twigs, but it's actually licorice root. You just break up some licorice root. It makes a lovely, lovely tea. Very flavoursome, very sweet to drink. It's very, very nice. And of course, unlike tea bags, it is completely biodegradable, so when you're finished you can get a good couple of cups out of it before it loses its flavour. You can just fling it off. You'll remember this as the Swedish Army folding cup that I've done a video on. That's just a spork. I'll talk you through the gear first, and then I'll actually start cooking with it. So essentially what's going to happen is that I'm going to fill this full of twigs. Now I've got a whole host of twigs here. You can use any natural kind of fuel for this. Pine cones at the right time of year work phenomenally well. I've seen a few videos of pine cones really going up quite quickly. Let me just talk you through the sort of the nature of the kettle. When you've got the fire going in there and that's sitting on there, air is coming through this hole here, is being drawn in and pulled up through the draw process, through and up out of the top bit, and that's forcing air in. It's like constantly blowing on your fire. So imagine if you had a fire and you were able to just onto that fire continuously. That's the power of this kettle. It really does push through the air and gets a very hot and quick burn going. So once I've got the fire going in there, I will drop on these grills. And we'll then sit the kettle on. The kettle will then, obviously, the water in the kettle will start to boil slowly. But while that's happening, I will drop on this pan holder, or pot holder. Just make sure this is going to be stable. I think it's on a little hold or something. There we go. And from there, the fire will still be coming up, or the heat will be coming up out of there. I can sit my pan on there. So the fuel is heating up my kettle, my water, and it's also heating up my food. So essentially what will then happen is this will whistle at some point to indicate that the water is boiling. At that point, this will all be very hot, so I'll use my pan grabs to take off that food, take off the holder. I'll take off the right one, there we go. And then what you'll need to do is you'll need to remove the kettle from the boil. It does have a wooden handle, so that stops you from getting burned. What you're going to do is lift that handle up to 90 degrees and lift off with both hands and just place the kettle aside anywhere, as long as it's off the fire. You can then continue cooking by grabbing the pot that you've just taken off and dropping it back on this section, which will still have hot embers in there. And that's essentially your process. When you're happy that this has gone back on, you want to pour your drink. What you do is you pull off the whistle, you lift up your kettle, and you take it over to where your drink is, and you're going to hold it by the little plastic end so you don't burn yourself, and you're just going to pull that until water comes out. Obviously you can see water coming out right there, but it will be hot. So that's essentially what's going to happen. I'm actually going to put it into practice right now and show you it in action, so that's quite fun. Collecting these twigs, the fuel, get it done first of all, and it literally takes minutes to collect this amount of twigs. You want dead stuff as much as possible. I'm going to be starting this fire with some cotton wool and a lighter, but you can start, of course, the fire in it any way that you see fit. You can even start it in natural means. A couple of cotton wool pads, my lighter. I'll place them in, and then make sure it's on a stable surface. There's a bit of weight in that pot there. And then I'll be placing on the smaller twigs here to get started. I'm just going to get those in my hand ready. Preparation, as most things in life, is the key. There we go. Just make sure you're all in shot. Yes, there we go. As you can see, once the kettle's gone on, it's putting quite a bit more air through. I can hear the fire roaring. I don't know if you can actually hear that on the camera. You can see the fire coming out of the top already. So we'll throw a few more pieces in. Make sure he's nice and topped up. And now we'll place on a pot of beans. There we go. We have boil. And that's the boil, guys. So now we'll just leave him over there, just to stay warm while we cook the rest of our meal. And while that's cooking, I will grab a kettle and I shall pour us a nice tea. Oh yeah. I say us, I mean me, but you guys are here as well, in my mind. It's as simple as pouring like that. There we go. That's my tea there on the brew. While it's brewing, these are starting to fry. And just check on the beans. They're still lovely and warm. In fact, I'm going to tuck into a few of these right now because I'm quite hungry. Been filming most of the day, so delicious. No casualties here. He's going to be going in. I'm not shy. That's it. So by the time I finish these, that'll be perfect to drink a lovely meal. If there's more of us here, I could have a meal for myself, a meal for the other guys, a little snack maybe, share some beans with the guys. Everyone would definitely get a drink. Since getting the Ghillie Storm Kettle, I've used it a great deal. I've taken it out on camps with friends where, say, 4 of us have been able to have a drink, a nice warm brew at the exact same time. Very nice. And it also cuts the firewood collecting into quarters if all 4 of you are collecting firewood for that one fire. I've also taken it out into my garden of an evening and I've cooked my evening meal on it, which is just really great fun and enjoyable to do. The weatherproof nature of the storm kettle essentially means that it doesn't matter whatever the weather conditions are, rain, wind, you're going to be able to have warm food and a warm drink, which will help you a great deal. Helps you with your morale, especially if you're sort of out in the middle of nowhere and it's cold and windy and you need something to warm you up. The chimney-like drawing in that air, burns very hot as well, burns all of that fuel, whatever you're burning, very hot. And that means that you're going to be able to eat and drink a lot sooner than you would with other methods of cooking. It's great fun, and the Ghillie storm kettle can be used with your friends while you're out camping, could be used with picnics with your family, or it just could be used, say, in the event of sort of a power cut or a power outage where you need something to cook on. Very versatile, very enjoyable to use.
Buy this and more at meanandgreen.com.